Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is No South, No South Capital, coming to you on a rather warm evening from the Southern Hemisphere. I know it's been a while, and things have been quite busy here. That is why there hasn't been much from me, particularly from the longer form videos. You may have noticed that I'm doing something short in recent times. But anyway, as always, like and subscribe, to the channel. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. That helps. I think that's kind of routine. I absolutely hate saying it, but we need your help in order to grow this channel. Excuse me. Anyway, let's get back to business. And as I told you last time, we were going to take a different turn in the sense that I was going to bring in a little bit of analysis in other parts of crypto before I actually do the main instrument that we normally talk about. Again, so we start off with our token unlocks, the vesting schedules, as you can see. I'm not invested in any of these, but I'm sure those of you who are interested will want to keep an eye on this vesting periods. As you can see, the only thing that strikes me here is Say, which is here, and that should be vested in about 3.5 hours time. So unlock progress 60.07%, and this unlock is going to be 121.11 million Say. I think 1.21% of totally locked, which is about 40.27 million. I don't think that's going to affect the price too much. It might just drop a little bit, but not too much. Like I said, I'm not really invested in anything here, but I'm sure some of you are. And as always, just keep your eye out. I learned a hard lesson on this, so I never make that mistake. I always check to see what is out there. Anyway, that's that. Okay, so fear and greed in the crypto markets. We got at 54, which is neutral. The markets have kind of been a bit interesting. We've seen some massive growth, in terms of price movement, in terms of the altcoins, and hence they talk of the altcoin season. We'll get there in a minute, and we'll take a closer look at that. So we're looking at the Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is about 57.79% at the moment. In some cases, we've got about 50. I think on CoinGecko or something, it's about 55%, and which is showing the continued influence of the altcoins, and as we've seen as well, Ethereum has strengthened its percentage of total market cap. So with that, with that said, with Ethereum moving forward, everything else follows, as you know, in terms of the altcoins. We're waiting to see. Now, before we actually even talk about that, let's look at this. Let's look at the altcoin season itself, and as we can see here, we've got interest over time. So I'm looking at the interest the world over in terms of altcoin season, and it's kind of just about the same, fairly even over time, until recently where we've seen a bit more activity. Let's see. No, we don't want these ones at the moment. Let's look at the altcoin season thing first before we do anything else. And I'm generally not a big fan of coin market cap when it comes to its altcoin season. I'm more of a fan of this because of the way it's calculated. And currently, according to CoinGlass, we've got it at 78. Now, just to remind you, altcoin season, we have between 0 and 25 is Bitcoin season. Between 26 and 74 is neutral. From 75 upwards, that is altcoin season. Currently, we're at 78. So you could argue, I think that if Bitcoin were under about 50% of market cap, in dominance, then I would say that we are, fully in altcoin season. But we're almost there. I think you can argue. I mean, there's a lot of noise about that, about it being altcoin season, but we shall keep seeing. There's another one here from the blockchaincenter.net. Very similar, almost exactly. That's why I picked these two, because most of the time they're always the same thing. This one goes ahead and talks about days since the last season, average days between seasons, and all that stuff. If you're more interested in that, we've got a lot to cover, so let's not dwell on that. But this is indicating that we are in altcoin season. And just very quickly, the top 50 performance over the last 90 days. Pengu leads by whopping 226.5%. If you're a Pengu holder, I'm sure you'll be having a good smile about that. We've got Ethereum there at 71.7%, Link 69.6%, Solana 54.4%. Even the mighty Doge there's got about 53%. So I'm sure. Now we've seen a massive move by Binance price-wise, which is its performance over the last 90 days has been 39.2%. Bitcoin, a mere 5.1%. So you can see that most of these coins here, probably about 40 of them have outperformed Bitcoin. But remember, Bitcoin is a store of value. We've got Sui here at about a mere 17%. Let's see. Can we find Solana somewhere? Oh yeah, so I'm talking about 54.4% for Solana. Massive growth there as well, in terms of price growth, that is. Okay. And then we can see others like Pi going down about 40.9%. That's just way too massive. Way too massive for, if you're a Pi holder. Doesn't look too good there, but anyway. That's that. We've looked at the Bitcoin dominance, which I've said is at 57.77 at the moment. And then, ladies and gentlemen, if we switch over to the MVRV score, Z-Score, we have currently it's at about 2.12. Now, for those who are a little bit confused about the Z-Score, let me just quickly give you a breakdown of what we're talking about. So if you've got a Z-Score of 0, then Bitcoin is considered undervalued there. If you've got a Z-Score between 0 and 1, that's neutral or fair value. Market is neither overheated nor undervalued. A Z-Score between 1 and 3, that means it's in a healthy bullish zone, and that means accumulation along the as we have the uptrend. And at the moment we're at about 2.12, so that means that yes, you're in an accumulation zone. Anything between 3 to 6 bullish acceleration, but caution, because now we're getting to heated levels, and if there's a sustained presence of between 3 to 6, you should be cautious and just watch very closely that you're not surprised by the market. And anything above 7, that means Bitcoin is overvalued and time to take your profits when you see that. Now, I've not generally followed this particular score, but I think that is something that we should look at over time. Now, this one was quite interesting. I started to look at the crypto market RSI heat map. And to give, for those of you that haven't got any major context, it is here. It says the relative strength index, which is RSI, which many of you already know. Analysis is a commonly used technical analysis tool in cryptocurrency futures trading to help identify market trends. The RSI is a momentum oscillator that measures the speed and change of price movement. It is calculated based on the average gains and losses of a particular asset over a period of time, typically 14 days. The RSI ranges from 0 to 100, with readings above 70 indicating an overbought condition and readings below 30 indicating an oversold condition. When the RSI value is above 70, it suggests that the asset is likely to experience a price correction, while a value below 30 suggests that the asset is oversold and may experience a price increase in the near future. So I think we can stop there. Now, why am I showing this? If you had looked at this particular heat map about 2 days ago, you would have seen that most of the cryptocurrencies were in the overbought zone. Right here, I mean, massive oversold, or strong. Bitcoin certainly was. Solana, many of them, Ethereum, they were all in that. Now, I wish I had taken this. I wish I had taken a picture to show you to see what I mean. But imagine this cluster here, which is in the neutral region here, up between the strong and overbought. So I began to pay more attention, and there was almost nothing, as you can see here, in the oversold region. Almost nothing going on here, including the week. So I think that one can look at this. This kind of gives you a sort of look, an overall look at the market in total. Now, one more thing I want to look at here is the Pi Cycle Top Indicator. Now, this indicator has helped me on several occasions to avoid, to know when to sell and to avoid getting trapped at the top of the cycle. And currently we are, as we can see here, we're a bit home free. There's nothing really going on here. I think we're very okay. So we are at, okay, this is back at September 5th, sorry, September 9th. It's not today's date. I think it's every week this thing turns up. But at the moment we haven't broken this, because if you can see, look at that. The white line thing here is the Bitcoin price, and as you can see, it breaks the upper green one. And when it breaks that, that means that Bitcoin has topped. And so far so good. I've used it to monitor my position very closely, and it has really helped. This I look at very closely to see what it does. Okay, so I think enough of that. Let's get to the instruments themselves. And here, ladies and gentlemen, we have Binance. We'll start there. And as you can see, all areas of demand. Look at that. All positive growth here. Now, let's just do this, because we've always used this one. As you can see, look at the confluence. So I've just put the smart money concept on, because we always use that. Look at the confluence between that and those areas. You can see the blue. You can see that. Now, if you recall, I think in my last video, I said something. I said that if we have enough volume momentum, it could break through certain areas of supply, which it did. And as we can see, there are no areas of supply. It's all areas of demand, as we can see now. And so this is going to be, I must admit, Binance did surprise me. I expected Binance to be in the late 800s to early 900s. But when it broke these areas here, I was like, wow, okay, this is quite good. Once it broke, I think when it broke, roughly, I think it was about here, about 808. That's when I knew that, okay. Most of the activities here, and remember, for a long time it traded sideways. We all remember that. I mean, check out my last set of videos and you will see how I talked about Binance. I was almost dismissive at one point, but I must confess, I do have an interest in Binance, because I've had this coin for quite a while. But it's something that I was contemplating of actually getting rid of. But it keeps surprising me, so we'll see. Volume profile fairly even. Most of the activities at the lower price, which we saw with the continuous sideways trading for a very long time. Low volume here. If we look at our weekly just very quickly, as you can see, look at that volume here. It's going to move up very, very quickly. Activity down here, if you look at it again, that's when it was trading sideways for quite a while. And I think that it's nothing but growth. There's a bit of strength here. If you look at the yellow, listen, this is our choppiness index. So it's a bit of strength, but it's kind of running out of steam a bit. So we'll see how that goes over time. But anyway, enough of Binance. Let's get over to Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. And again, quite a bit of strength everywhere, except at the top, very top here. If we bring in our smart money concepts, let's just bring that back. Again, you can see the confluence on the two. Now, if you remember one of my videos, I think it was the last one before, I said that Bitcoin's not going to fall below 107, and it did not. And it kind of held its own at that area here, and it's on the way back. if you look at this area here, it's not going to be too bad, because if we break the point of control, I think there's going to be enough. There's going to be enough volume momentum to push the price above this area and break. Now, I think it is a. Let me see. Before we do that, let's have a quick look at the weekly. And we're still very strong. Look at that, very strong weekly there. All areas of demand, no areas of supply. That's our 107 holding its own. And again, there's confluence between as an area of support and resistance. That's at one time resistance, now support, as we can see with this line. So I don't expect Bitcoin to fall. Worst case scenario at about 100,000, if anything happens, anything dramatic. But I doubt that very much. I think we're going to be seeing the price increase. Now, if we go back to our daily very quickly, and let's see, let's do this. Technical patterns. Let's have a look at our falling wedge pattern here. So we've hit that target, which was the original thing was about falling about 111,000. We've already broken that. There was another pattern. I'm trying to remember what it was now. I can't quite remember. Where we were positing at about 147 for Bitcoin. Let's have a look. I think it was a bullish pennant. Oh yeah, I was right. I remember. It was a bullish pennant. There we are. So as you can see, positing here at about 147. I think Bitcoin, as we saw on the weekly chart, which we saw here, we saw that 107 there's confluence between the area of 107 from an area of resistance to now an area of support. I think that over time, maybe before the end of the year, we're going to hit 147. Providing we don't have too strong a performance from the altcoins. And like I said earlier, some of the platforms are showing that the altcoin season, the Bitcoin dominance is at about 55 and not 57. It varies across the different platforms, but we shall see over time. Again, looking at our weekly, all areas of demand, no areas of support, of supply. So I think we are fairly safe with that. Performance on Bitcoin, I think let's reset our chart. And as we can see, so there we have it. I think there's only one area of supply here, but I think that's going to be broken over time, because if this continues to trade, if Bitcoin trades sideways once more, we're definitely going to break. If we break this area here with enough volume momentum, then we're going to about 124, 125. No question about that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's go on to Ethereum. And let's see, let me put one of my favorite. Let me just have a look. Oh, plenty of energy here. If you look at that yellow line, plenty of energy is about 53. And the Lagarde RSI has fired, so we are pretty strong. Areas of, if we look at there, 1, 2, 3, all areas of demand, no areas of supply. Let's have a quick look at the weekly. Again, very strong. Several changes in character there. As you can see, price keeps going back up and then it breaks and then goes back up again to break it. I think that we are going to see if, I think there, let's see, somewhere about here. If Ethereum breaks the 474,800, then 5,000 is definitely on the cards. No question about that. looking very strong. And this is on the weekly. If we go back on, switch back onto the daily, look at that, very strong, despite the breakup structures. Very strong. All areas of demand. Volume profile fairly even. A lot of activity. And if you look at it here, I think that we're going to break this area here at about 4,000. We're going to hit 5,000. There's no question about that. I think that worst case scenario for us when it comes to Ethereum, for the moment, it's about 4,000, roughly 4,000. I don't think we're going to go lower than that. I think that's the area for us. And I think the rest is heading up. Now, with the altcoin season index at 78, that tells you that there is definitely something's going to happen. Once again in Ethereum. Ethereum had all of August, and was quite interesting to see. I mean, this is a coin that we all thought was kind of dead, but then again, in crypto, you never say something is dead. You always pay attention. You might be able to rotate in and out of that particular instrument, but nothing is really dead. Which leads me to the next one, which is having its day in the sun at the moment, and that's the mighty Solana. And as we can see, let's do this. Let's open up our smart concepts and let's have a look. Solana here indicates that this area is an area of supply, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 areas of demand. Very strong. Lower highs and lower lows. Okay. Now, the worry here is the momentum. As you can see, this is about 32.82, but let's have a look at it on the weekly. Let's see if we've got some strength in the weekly. And in the weekly, we've got about 44, which means that it's running out of steam. And we've got a massive area of supply here. Although this volume here, as you know, I've always told you when you look at the volume profile, prices could easily drive through these areas very, very quickly, as I've always told you. We've got a massive area of supply here. We've got 1, 2, 3 areas of demand. I think that this area here at about 126 is about the worst case scenario when you look at it on. If you look at it on just by looking at this, but I don't think Solana is going to fall. It's going to come back to that level anytime soon. Let's go back to the daily. My concern though is this: we're running out of steam in terms of momentum. That is my concern. But we just have to wait and see. And if you look at this last candle here. You know, it's an inverted doji there. So I'm a bit concerned because this is an area of supply. But had this been a bit higher, then yes, I would have said it's going to break through. But so it might take a little bit longer than we had hoped. But then again, the markets, the crypto market does know how to surprise us. I think our worst case scenario that we're looking at is about 194. But perhaps we should come in here, this region here, at about 186. Because areas of resistance have now become areas of support. So I think worst case scenario for us is going to be about 186, between 100 and, between 100 and about 80 to 186, that region there. But I think this is our worst case scenario at about 186. So we shall see anyway. Okay, let's move on to SUI. SUI has been interesting. Let me have a look at, let's get the chop on there. Let's have a quick look at our chop to see how much momentum we've got in the market. And this one, let's see. Okay, again, I'm very worried. It's looking at it's running out of steam. Look at that yellow thing. Look at that momentum there. Although Lagarde RS has fired and now it's got a flat top. That means that price, it could maintain that price at that level for quite a while. If we look at this, let's hide that for a moment. Again, based on these falling wedges, our targets in this region here or here, which is about $4, just say, let's say $5. So we're still looking at $5, which means that this is an accumulation under $5 if you can get it. So we've got 2 areas of supply. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bad areas of demand. Our strength, we could draw strength from this, roughly this region here at about $3.80, because we've got a series of areas where resistance have also become support. I think that those are the areas that we need to watch out for. One can still accumulate. This, as I said, anything under $5 is still an accumulation. We just have to follow the market, and if the altcoin market is in full swing as we are expecting it to be, then I suspect that this particular currency will move to $5. There's been 2 indications now to the $5 if we go by these technical patterns, but time will tell. So, okay, ladies and gentlemen, next Moodeng, and again, remember in my previous videos I talked about accumulating enough Moodeng way back here in February, March of the year, and selling at one of these areas of supply. And so one could have easily, if you had followed that, I mean, look at that, you could have gone from about, let's say you bought here at about 2 cents. You could have easily sold at about 33 cents. That's just massive. It's a monster gain there, ladies and gentlemen. Monster gain. Again, we're getting a lot of sideways trading here. Looking almost like a double bottom. I doubt that, but let's see if the indicator picks that. Let me see if I can. Let's just try and see if we can, if the double bottom pattern shapes up. Oh, it did. The double bottom pattern, also spot on there. And so we're looking at the target, according to this, at about it's about 37 cents. So interesting times ahead on this one. Moodeng looking strong. If you've been an earlier holder, you have to hold on well, but if not, I suppose this would be a good thing, for Moodeng holders. Volume profile, most of the activity is here now. It was further down. Remember when I said accumulate above when the price goes above the point of control? Further down here, February or March of this year. I'm sure some of you that have been watching my videos remember. Again, like before, there are more areas of supply than demand, but we've hit that double bottom like we've seen here, and now we've got that target. So who knows? We shall see. We have a target of about 40 cents. So still some speculation ahead on this one. With enough momentum, let's have a look and see. Let's just put our chop. Let's see if we can expect some momentum on this particular one. As we can see, it's really run out of momentum here. Let's have a quick look at the weekly. Oh, the weekly shows promise. Look at that. Look at that momentum there. A lot, at about 64. But remember, higher time frames determine the overall direction of where a cryptocurrency is actually going to go. So if this maintains, then you can see 37 cents. So the thing we do, it maintained the double bottom, and with this strength, so yeah, we might see it hit that 37. I think it's something that we could easily do. I think that if you see a price, if you haven't got in and you see the price breaking this region here of about 24 or 25 cents, I think you can get in for a very quick, some quick profit. Accumulate, if you're going to accumulate anything under 30 cents for you to sell at a higher price later. I think that, and again, if you look at the weekly here, you can see that our volume profile is quite weak, which means with enough volume momentum, we could easily head to about, let's say, 47, between 47 and about 50, but only time will tell. Let's say between 47 and about 50, but time will tell. Accumulate under 30 if you want some, and then speculate to your heart's content. Anyway, let's move to WIF. And let's put our chop on as well. Okay, just for us to see some momentum. Okay, look at that. Momentum is quite a bit weak here at about 39. There's just a little bit left. Let's have a quick, sorry. So, oops. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, a lot of. Let's do this. Let's bring this down a little bit so we can see. We can have a bit more of a vision. Look at that. Wow. So WIF is trading sideways. Let's just expand that. We've seen quite a few areas of supply here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 areas of supply, which tells me, that should tell you as always that those are selling zones. I did say in my previous videos to accumulate somewhere down here, these lower regions here, for some profits. Let's have a quick look at the weekly. Yeah, we can see we do have some energy left in the market. Look at that, it's about 56.48. So we do have some energy. We are just above the point of control here on the weekly. Volume profile has shown an increasing downward. If you look at downward slope, look at that. It's just been going down, which means there's not much activity. Which means that if we break here, let's just say at about $1.56. Let's say $1.60. Don't be surprised that you see the price come all the way to about $2.20. $2.20. And that wouldn't surprise me at all if that happens. Let's go back here. Let's go back to the daily. Let's have a look. Let's reset things. Let's just do this. Let's stick to this area here. Let's not there. And if you look at this area here, like I said, there's not much momentum left in the markets. So, and we've got these massive areas of supply here and here, which is going to take a mammoth move. Speculators might want to start accumulating at about 81 if it falls back there. Or let's come down here, this area of buying here. So we're looking at a region of between 73 and about 80. Accumulate there to aim to sell at about 140 or so, or even higher. That would be the easiest thing to do. I think one should speculate on this. I don't think we're going to get the same excitement on WIF. But then again, if the altcoin season takes off in earnest, that might actually pay off in the long term. Okay, you've seen a lot of excitement in the markets, particularly on Twitter. I would go to these sites with caution. I would look at them with a lot of caution. I wouldn't just jump into what they're saying. I like to look at the charts, and I like to read the news articles and then read them, see what they're saying, try to think about, okay, where is it going, or where is it not going. But I'll be honest, I've relied more on the charts and what technical charts are telling me. Now, some of you rely on fundamentals. I admit that fundamentals are important, particularly with the recent market vaccinations. I mean, the markets in some cases have not made any sense. A lot of people have said that. We seem to have a little bit of clarity with increased prices. Bitcoin itself has been trading really between about 114 and about 117, 118. I think we can expect that for a little while before we see any major explosion in that direction. There are many other things that we can discuss, but I think those are for separate videos. So, ladies and gentlemen, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. That helps. And as always, keep your eyes and ears open and you're trading sharp. Have a good one. Bye.